My daughter-in-law walked into my garage and told me her brother was taking over my shop next week. That's when I picked up my old flip phone and started making calls. Let me back up a bit. My name is Walter Hendricks. I'm 68 years old, and I've owned Hendricks Auto Repair in Cedar Mill, Oregon for 41 years. Built it from nothing. Started with a single bay, a toolbox my father left me, and about $300 in my pocket. My wife Eleanor passed away 12 years ago. Cancer took her slowly, and I watched the light leave her eyes over 18 months. We never had children of our own. Doctors said it wasn't in the cards for us. But Eleanor, she had the biggest heart I've ever known. She couldn't stand seeing kids struggle. That's how it started. Back in 1987, a 16-year-old kid named Marcus showed up at my shop. Skinny as a rail, clothes that didn't fit, eyes that had seen too much. He'd been caught trying to steal parts from the junkyard next door. The owner wanted to press charges. I looked at that boy and saw something Eleanor would have seen. Potential buried under circumstances. How about this? I told the junkyard owner. Let him work it off. He works for me. I'll pay you back for whatever he took. That was the first one. Over the next 35 years, Eleanor and I took in 63 kids. Not officially. We weren't foster parents in any legal sense. But when the school counselor called and said a kid needed somewhere to go, we had a spare room. When the local pastor mentioned a teenager sleeping in the church basement, Eleanor would make up the bed in the back house. Most stayed a few months. Some stayed years. All of them learned something in my shop. How to change oil. How to diagnose an engine problem. How to show up on time and do honest work. We never asked for anything back. That wasn't the point. After Eleanor passed, I kept going. Couldn't stop. Really. The shop was all I had. The kids who came through, they were my family. Some still called on holidays. Some had moved away and lost touch. That's life. 3 years ago, I met my wife. Her name is Patricia. She's 62, a retired kindergarten teacher, and the second miracle of my life. I wasn't looking for love at 65. Patricia came into my shop with a 2005 Honda Civic that was making a sound she described as angry bees mixed with a cat in a blender. I fixed her car. She brought me cookies. I asked her to dinner. She said yes. We got married 18 months later. Small ceremony. A few of the kids I'd helped over the years showed up. Patricia cried happy tears. I did too, though I'd never admit it. Patricia had one son from her first marriage. His name was Gregory. Gregory was 42, worked in commercial real estate, and had opinions about everything. From the moment Patricia and I got engaged, Gregory made his feelings clear. Mom, you barely know this man. He's a mechanic, Mom. What kind of future is that? Did you even get a prenup? Patricia defended me every time, but I could see the strain it put on her. She loved her son, even when he was being difficult. That's what mothers do. Gregory's wife was named Vanessa. She was 38, blonde, and had a way of looking at our little house like she'd accidentally stepped in something unpleasant. They had 2 kids, twin boys aged 10, who I genuinely tried to connect with. I taught them how to check tire pressure once. They seemed interested for about 4 minutes before Vanessa whisked them away, muttering something about grease and their new sneakers. For 3 years, I dealt with Gregory and Vanessa's passive-aggressive comments. The sighs when they visited our modest home, the questions about retirement planning that were really questions about when I'd die and what I'd leave behind. Patricia's house was nice enough. 3 bedrooms, decent yard, in a good school district, worth about $400,000 in the current market. But my shop, the building, and the land it sat on, that was worth more. A lot more. Cedar Mill had grown over the decades. What was once the outskirts of town was now prime commercial real estate. A developer had offered me $2.3 million for my property last year. I turned him down. Gregory nearly had a stroke when he found out. You turned down $2 million? For what? So you can keep changing oil until you drop dead? I didn't bother explaining. The shop wasn't just a building to me. It was 41 years of my life. It was Eleanor's memory. It was every kid who'd walked through those doors broken and walked out with a skill and a chance. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The real trouble started 6 months ago. Gregory showed up at the shop on a Tuesday afternoon. He never came to the shop. The grease and the noise and the working class reality of it all offended his sensibilities. "Walter, we need to talk. I was elbow deep in a transmission rebuild. Can it wait? I've got Mrs. Patterson's car up on the lift, and she needs it by 5. "No, it can't wait." He pulled up a stool, then thought better of it and remained standing. "I've been doing some research about this property." I kept working. "That so? The zoning changed 2 years ago. This whole strip is now zoned for mixed commercial use. Do you know what that means? Means the city wants more tax revenue. It means this property is worth a fortune, and you're wasting it on—" He gestured around at my life's work. "This." I set down my wrench. "Gregory, I've had offers. I'm not interested in selling. I'm not talking about selling." He smiled, and something about that smile made my stomach turn. "I'm talking about developing. My brother-in-law, Vanessa's brother Derek, he runs a franchise operation. Quick lube places, tire shops, that kind of thing. Very successful. Good for Derek. He's looking to expand into the Pacific Northwest. And this location," Gregory spread his hands like he was presenting a gift, "is perfect." I stared at him. "You want me to give my shop to your wife's brother?" "Not give. Partner. You contribute the property. Derek handles the build-out and operations. You retire comfortably, maybe keep a small percentage. And what happens to my shop? My name?" Gregory actually laughed. "Walter, nobody cares about Hendrick's Auto Repair. No offense. But a national brand? That's where the money is. Derek's talking about a 10-bay quick lube, a tire center, maybe even a car wash. This property could generate $500,000 a year easy." I wiped my hands on a rag and looked at this man who had married my wife's only child. This man who had never worked with his hands a day in his life. This man who saw dollar signs where I saw decades of memories. "No. Walter, be reasonable." I said, "No, Gregory. This is my shop. My decision. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mrs. Patterson needs her car." He left angry. I figured that was the end of it. I was wrong. Over the next few months, the pressure campaign began. Vanessa started making comments to Patricia about how worried she was about me working at my age. Gregory sent articles about elderly business owners who'd had accidents in their shops. Subtle stuff, but constant. Then Derek himself showed up. Derek was 45, tan in that artificial way, with teeth too white and a handshake too firm. He drove a Mercedes and wore a watch that cost more than my first car. "Walter, great to finally meet you. Greg's told me so much about this place." I didn't like him immediately. Call it instinct. He walked around my shop like he was already measuring for new equipment. "Great bones here." "Great bones? Of course, we'd have to tear down most of it, but the lot size is perfect." "Tear down? Well, sure. Can't run a modern operation out of a building from—" He checked the cornerstone. 1,962. "We'd put up something contemporary. Glass and steel. Very clean lines. I thought about Eleanor and me painting that building together in 1983. I thought about the growth chart on the back wall, where we'd marked how tall some of the kids had gotten. I thought about 41 years of Christmases spent right here, handing out bonuses to my small staff, and sometimes turkeys to families who were struggling. Get out of my shop." Derek blinked. "Excuse me? You heard me. Get out. And tell your brother-in-law that my answer is still no. It's going to stay no. This shop isn't for sale. It isn't for partnering. And it sure as hell isn't getting torn down." Derek's friendly mask slipped for just a second. I saw something cold underneath. "Walter, I think you're making a mistake. Gregory mentioned you don't have any heirs. No kids of your own. What's going to happen to this place when you're gone? That's my business." "Is it? Because from what I understand, Patricia has a stake in your estate now. And Patricia is Gregory's mother. So really, this is a family matter." I felt my blood pressure spike. "Get out." He left. But his words stayed with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Patricia noticed. "Walter, what's wrong? You've been tossing for hours." I didn't want to worry her, but I also couldn't lie to her. Gregory and Derek came to see me. About the shop. Patricia sat up. What did they say? I told her. All of it. The partnership scheme, the plans to tear everything down, Derek's comment about heirs and family matters. Patricia was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Walter, I need you to know something. Whatever you decide about that shop, I support you. It's yours. You built it. I would never let anyone take that from you. I believed her. But I also saw the pain in her eyes. Gregory was her son. She loved him despite his flaws. And now he was putting her in an impossible position. Maybe we should talk to him, she said. Together. Help him understand. You think that would work? She didn't answer. We both knew Gregory didn't want to understand. He wanted what he wanted. 2 weeks later, everything came to a head. It was a Sunday. Patricia and I were having a quiet morning. Coffee, the newspaper, the kind of peaceful routine we'd built together. The doorbell rang. Gregory stood on the porch. Behind him were Vanessa, Derek, and a woman I didn't recognize. Mom, Walter, we need to talk. This is Linda Chen. She's an attorney. I felt Patricia tense beside me. Gregory, what is this? Can we come in? This really shouldn't be done on the porch. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. They filed into our living room. The attorney, Linda Chen, carried a leather briefcase. Derek had that predatory smile again. Vanessa looked around our home with her usual disdain. Gregory cleared his throat. Walter, we've tried to be reasonable. We've tried to help you see the opportunity here, but you've refused to listen. There's nothing to listen to. I'm not giving up my shop. That's where you're wrong. Gregory nodded to the attorney. Linda Chen opened her briefcase and pulled out a stack of documents. Mr. Hendricks, I represent Derek Callahan's business interests. We've done some research into your property. I don't care what research you've done. You might care about this. She handed me a document. The commercial zoning that was approved 2 years ago included a clause about properties that fail to meet updated code requirements. Your building, while grandfathered for its current use, would need significant modifications to continue operating as an auto repair facility. I looked at the document. It was full of legal language I didn't fully understand. What are you saying? Derek stepped forward. What she's saying, Walter, is that your shop is one code enforcement complaint away from being shut down. The electrical system is outdated. The ventilation doesn't meet current standards. The environmental regulations for automotive fluid disposal have changed since you got your permits. I've passed every inspection for 40 years. Inspections can be, well, more thorough, especially when concerned citizens raise issues. I understood then. They were threatening to have my shop shut down if I didn't cooperate. You can't do this. Gregory's voice was cold. Walter, we don't want to do this. We want to be partners, but you've left us no choice. Either you agree to the deal Derek's proposing, or we start making calls. Your shop will be tied up in compliance issues for years. You'll spend everything you have fighting it. Patricia stood up. Gregory, stop this. Right now. Mom, stay out of this. This is business. This is my husband. This is his life's work. His life's work? Gregory laughed. Mom, he fixes cars. He's a mechanic. He's nobody. The room went silent. Patricia's face went pale. What did you just say? I said the truth, Mom. You married below your station. You married some grease monkey who happened to be sitting on valuable land. And now you're defending him while he throws away a fortune out of stubbornness and sentimentality. I watched my wife's heart break in real time. Not for herself, for the realization of who her son really was. Get out of my house, she whispered. Mom, get out. All of you. Now. Gregory's face twisted. Fine. But this isn't over, Walter. You have 1 week. 1 week to accept the deal, or we start making those calls. They left. Patricia collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I held her for a long time. When she finally stopped crying, she looked at me with red-rimmed eyes and said, Walter, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what he's become. It's not your fault. I raised him. I must have done something wrong. You did your best. Sometimes people make their own choices. She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, What are we going to do? I thought about it. I thought about 41 years and 63 kids, and every late night I'd spent teaching someone how to rebuild an alternator or diagnose a misfire. I thought about Eleanor smiling as another troubled teenager walked out with a job recommendation letter. Then I remembered what I'd said at the beginning of this story. I picked up my old flip phone. I'm going to make some calls. I started with Marcus, the first kid we ever took in. The skinny 16-year-old who'd been caught stealing junkyard parts. Marcus was 52 now. He owned 3 auto body shops in Seattle, employed 40 people, still called me Pop. Pop? Is everything okay? I told him the situation. All of it. Are you kidding me? They threatened you? They called you nobody? That's the gist of it. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Pop, you remember what you told me 35 years ago when everyone else saw a thief and you saw potential? I said everyone deserves a chance to prove who they really are. That's right. Well, it sounds like your stepson just proved who he really is. And now it's time for the rest of us to prove who we are. Give me a day. I need to make some calls of my own. I called Jasmine next. She was 48 now, a civil engineer who designed bridges across the Pacific Northwest. She'd stayed with us for 2 years after aging out of the foster system. Mr. H. Oh my God, it's so good to hear from you. How's Mrs. Patricia? I told her the story. They said what? They threatened what? Oh, hell no. Mr. H, I'm calling everyone. Everyone. Over the next 3 days, I made 47 phone calls. 47 kids who had passed through my shop over 4 decades. Some I hadn't spoken to in years. Some I talked to every Christmas. Every single one had the same reaction. They messed with you? They're messing with all of us. 1 week passed. On Sunday morning, exactly as Gregory had threatened, he showed up again. This time with Derek, Vanessa, the attorney Linda Chen, and 2 men I didn't recognize. Walter, time's up. Gregory didn't even bother with pleasantries. These gentlemen are from a regulatory consulting firm. They've already prepared the complaint documents. I was sitting on my porch. Patricia was beside me, holding my hand. I see, I said. So what's it going to be? Are you ready to be reasonable? Or do we start making calls? I looked at my wife. She squeezed my hand and nodded. I'm ready, I said. But first, I'd like you to meet some people. Gregory frowned. What are you talking about? I pointed down the street. A car was approaching. A black Tesla Model S. It pulled up to our curb and parked. A man got out. Marcus. Still lean, but now wearing a tailored suit and carrying himself like someone who'd built an empire from nothing. Pop. Mrs. Patricia. He hugged us both. Then he turned to Gregory. You must be the stepson. I've heard so much about you. Gregory looked confused. Who the hell are you? Marcus Williams. I run Williams Auto Body in Seattle. You might have seen the commercials. I was the first kid Walt and Eleanor took in, back in 1987. Before Gregory could respond, another car pulled up. A red Ford F-150. Jasmine got out, along with her husband. Mr. H, she ran up and hugged me. Sorry we're late. Traffic on I-5 was murder. Then another car, and another, and another. For the next 20 minutes, I watched vehicles arrive from every direction. Sedans and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles. They parked along the street, in the driveway, on the lawn. People got out and walked toward us. I saw Tommy Chin, who was now a detective with the Portland Police Department. I saw Rachel Foster, who ran a nonprofit for at-risk youth in Sacramento. I saw David and Daniel Williams, twin brothers who'd started their own trucking company. I saw faces I hadn't seen in decades and faces I saw every Christmas. Doctors and mechanics, teachers and business owners, a firefighter, 2 nurses, a software developer, a pastor, 63 people. Every single kid who had ever passed through my shop. They stood on my lawn, filling every inch of space. Some brought their families, their children, their grandchildren. Gregory's face had gone white. What is this? Marcus stepped forward. This is who Walter Hendricks is. This is who he's been for 40 years. You called him nobody? You threatened to take his shop? Look around you. Jasmine spoke up. I was homeless at 18. Walter and Eleanor gave me a bed and a job and hope. Now I design bridges for a living. This man right here, she pointed at me. This man is the reason I'm standing. Tommy Chen crossed his arms. I was headed to juvie when I was 15. Mr. Hendricks talked the judge into letting me work off my sentence at his shop. Now I'm a detective. I put criminals away, all because of him. One by one, they spoke. Their stories, their gratitude, their love. The attorney, Linda Chen, quietly put her documents back in her briefcase. She had the decency to look embarrassed. Derek's face was a mask of barely controlled rage. This doesn't change anything. The compliance issues are still valid. Marcus laughed. Are they? Interesting, because 3 of the people standing here are licensed inspectors for the state of Oregon. We've already done a preliminary review of Walter's shop. Everything is up to code. In fact, with some minor upgrades, we've agreed to fund ourselves. It exceeds current standards. Gregory sputtered. You can't just do that. Actually, we can. We also have documentation ready for any frivolous complaint you might file. Harassment, tortious interference with business operations, elder abuse through financial coercion. Tommy stepped forward, badge visible on his belt. I'm very familiar with these laws, by the way. Vanessa grabbed Gregory's arm. Greg, let's just go. No, this is ridiculous. They can't intimidate us. We're not trying to intimidate you. I stood up slowly, Patricia helping me. I just wanted you to see something. You came here and called me nobody. You said I fix cars. Like that's something to be ashamed of. I looked around at the 63 faces watching me. Faces I'd watched grow from broken teenagers into remarkable adults. I do fix cars, but I also fix something else. I fix people. I give them a chance when nobody else will. I teach them that their past doesn't have to be their future. And this, all of these people standing here, this is my family. Not by blood, but by choice, by love, by showing up when it matters. I turned back to Gregory. You threatened my life's work. You disrespected me in front of my wife. You tried to bully an old man out of everything he's built. And for what? Money? Gregory's jaw tightened. It's just business, Walter. No, son, it's not. That's what you never understood. Some things are more valuable than money. Some things can't be bought or sold. My shop, my legacy, my family, those things are priceless. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. We took a vote, by the way, all 63 of us. We've established a fund to ensure Hendricks Auto Repair continues operating for the next 20 years, regardless of what happens. We're also setting up a scholarship program in your name, for kids just like we were. I felt tears sting my eyes. You didn't have to do that. Yes, we did. You showed us what family means. Now we're showing you. Gregory looked around at the crowd of successful adults surrounding my home. I could see him doing the math. Lawyers, inspectors, business owners, a police detective. He was smart enough to know he was beaten. Fine, he spat. Keep your stupid shop. See if I care. He turned to Patricia. Mom, when you come to your senses, you know where to find me. He turned and walked to his car. Vanessa followed. Derek glared at me for a long moment before joining them. Only the attorney remained. She walked up to me quietly. Mr. Hendricks, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I didn't know the full story when I agreed to represent Mr. Callahan. This was supposed to be a simple property negotiation. She handed me a card. If you ever need legal help with anything, please call me. Pro bono. It's the least I can do. I took the card. Thank you. After she left, the real celebration began. Patricia made coffee. Someone ran out for donuts. Stories were shared. Pictures were taken. Hugs were exchanged. I watched my family, my real family, fill my home and yard with laughter and love. At one point, Marcus found me sitting alone on the porch steps, watching it all. Pop, you okay? I wiped my eyes. Just thinking about Eleanor. She would have loved this. She's here, Pop. She's always been here. In every one of us. I couldn't argue with that. That night, after everyone had gone home with promises to stay in touch and visit more often, Patricia and I sat together in the quiet of our living room. Walter, I'm so sorry about Gregory. Don't be. You can't control who your children become. All you can do is love them and hope they find their way. Will he ever find his way? Maybe. Today was a lesson. Whether he learns from it is up to him. Patricia leaned into me. Those people today, all 63 of them, they love you so much. I love them too. You built something beautiful, Walter. Something that will outlast all of us. I thought about that. 41 years of fixing cars. 63 kids who became doctors, engineers, police officers, business owners, teachers, parents. A legacy that couldn't be measured in dollars. I think I finally understand what matters, I said. What's that? The guy who said blood is thicker than water, he got it wrong. The real saying is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The bonds we choose are stronger than the ones we're born into. Patricia smiled. That's beautiful. I read it on a fortune cookie once. She laughed, and the sound filled our home. 3 months have passed since that day. Gregory hasn't contacted us. Vanessa sends Patricia occasional updates about the twins, but that's all. I hope someday Gregory will understand what he almost destroyed and why it mattered. But that's his journey, not mine. The shop is still open. We made the upgrades Marcus and the others funded. New electrical, better ventilation, a proper environmental system. The place looks better than it has in 20 years. I've started taking on apprentices again. Troubled kids who need a chance. The first one, a 17-year-old named Isaiah, showed up last month, caught stealing a car battery. Sound familiar? His first day, he looked around my shop with suspicious eyes and asked, "Why are you helping me?" I handed him a wrench and said, "Because somebody helped me once, and somebody will help whoever you decide to help someday. That's how it works. That's how we build a family." He didn't understand. Not yet. But he will. That's the thing about legacy. It's not what you leave behind. It's what you pass on. It's the ripples your life makes in other lives, spreading outward long after you're gone. My name is Walter Hendricks. I'm 68 years old. I fix cars for a living, and I'm surrounded by a family of 63 incredible human beings who chose to love me. Not because I'm wealthy, not because of blood, because I showed up for them. And when it mattered most, they showed up for me. If that makes me nobody, then I'm proud to be nobody. Thanks for listening to my story today. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel, Hallowed Vengeance, and hit the like button. Leave me a comment telling me about your family, the one you were born into or the one you built. And remember, family isn't about who you're related to. It's about who shows up when it matters. I'll see you in the next story.